Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever heard the terms Khom and Kengpa, and maybe, just maybe, felt a little fuzzy about whether they mean the same thing? Or perhaps you've noticed people using them interchangeably. It feels like a pretty common point of confusion, right?
Oh, absolutely. It really is. And the sources we've been exploring for this deep dive, well, they make it clear that while that confusion is understandable, given the shared history of the region, using these terms as synonyms just isn't accurate. There's a critical distinction there.
That's exactly. So our mission today really is to cut through that confusion using these fascinating sources we've got. We want to understand the origins, the meanings of Khom and Khmer, and really highlight why the sources are telling us they shouldn't be used interchangeably. We're going to look at the historical context, particularly those powerful ancient kingdoms that influenced this region even before places like Sukhothai came along. Kingdoms often labeled Khom in Thai historical accounts.
And that's sort of the central insight from our material, isn't it? That difference. One term is basically a historical label used by Thai people to refer to a powerful, ancient predecessor civilization, while the other is the term used by the people of that lineage themselves, both historically and today. It's their own name.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's start by defining Khom. What does the material actually tell us about this term? Who did it refer to?
So the sources describe Khom as a term historically used by Thai people. And importantly, they note it wasn't the name these groups used for themselves.
Right, so an external label applied from the Thai perspective.
Precisely. The sources explain that Khom was used to refer to groups of people associated with ancient Khmer culture, or maybe more broadly, the civilization of powerful ancient kingdoms in the lower Mekong basin before the rise of Sukhothai. This includes mentioning earlier states like Funan and Chenla, and then, crucially, the mighty Khmer Empire centered at Angkor.
Tying it directly to those large, influential civilizations,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that were dominant in the region before the Thai kingdoms became prominent. Makes sense.
Yes, exactly. It was a term used in Thai historical narrative to describe these dominant groups that significantly impacted Thailand's back then. And the sources, they give some really great examples of where this term pops up in Thai history and culture.
Oh, yeah. What kind of examples do the sources mention?
Well, they show up in Thai chronicles and literature, and there the term Khom often carries this connotation of a high ancient civilization, something old, powerful, culturally significant.
Like specific figures or stories, maybe.
Definitely. The sources bring up the figure of Khom Dam Din.
Khom Dam Din.
Yeah, interpreted as representing defeated Khom, either fleeing or, traveling with incredible speed in historical accounts. Sort of a legendary feel.
Interesting. And their influence wasn't just political or military then, was it? I think I saw the sources mention things like Khom scripts or Khom teaching writing.
That's right. That highlights their impact on literacy, on education in the region. It shows their cultural reach went pretty deep.
And visually, of course, there's the Khom style art and architecture. That's quite famous.
Absolutely. The sources specifically point to the stone castles, the Prasat Hin, as being referred to as Khom style in Thai terminology. They list examples like Phimai and Phanom Rung right here in Thailand, alongside the really famous ones like Angkor Wat and Preah Vihear over in Cambodia.
Seeing those structures, yeah, it really grounds it in history, doesn't it? And the sources seem to associate Khom most strongly with a particular peak era.
Yes, they do. They pinpoint the period of the Khmer Empire centered at Angkor. That's roughly from 802 to 1431 AD, or you could say the 16th to 19th Buddhist centuries.
Right, the time of that incredible construction, like Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom. The sources even name some famous kings from this period, don't they?
They do, yeah. They mention Surya Varman II and Jayavarman VII. And the sources are careful to clarify that the people ruling this empire during its peak, including these kings, were ethnically Khmer people.
Okay, so Khom is emerging from the sources as primarily a Thai historical term for that powerful ancient civilization, especially the Angkorian era. Now let's flip to the other side. Khom, Khmer. What does the material say about this term?
Right, Khmer, pronounced Khmer. And here's the crucial distinction the sources make. It's the term used in the Khmer language itself. It is their self-designation.
So what the people themselves have always called themselves.
Exactly. The sources describe the Khmer as an ethnic group with origins in the lower Mekong basin, primarily in what is now modern-day Cambodia.
Now the main population there today.
Yes, about 90% according to the sources. But they also note significant Khmer communities living in northeast Thailand, mentioning provinces like Surin, Sisaket, Buriram, and also down in southern Vietnam. And Khmer, of course, is their national language.
And historically, how do the sources trace their lineage back? Does it connect to those earlier kingdoms?
It does. They're presented as the cultural successors to those ancient kingdoms we touched on, Funan and Chenla, who then developed into the powerful Khmer or Angkorian Empire, from the 9th to the 15th centuries AD.
Which is the empire centered at Angkor, near Siem Reap in Cambodia today.
Correct. And the sources really emphasize the Khmer Empire's status as, well, one of the most influential states in Southeast Asia during that whole era.
Yeah, their achievements, building those incredible temples, that really speaks volumes about their influence.
The sources definitely highlight places like Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom as prime examples, shows their advanced art, engineering, societal complexity. It's all there. They also note the evolution of their religious practices, starting mainly with Shaivite Hinduism, then moving towards Mahayana and later Theravada Buddhism.
And the sources briefly cover their later history, too, after the empire's peak.
Yes, just briefly. Noting the empire's decline in the 15th century, partly due to pressures from rising neighbors like Ayutthaya and Lan Xang. The sources mention subsequent state formations, periods of being quite vulnerable, including French colonization from the 19th century until the mid-20th, before Cambodia finally gained independence in 1953.
Okay, so the sources are painting this picture. Khom is a Thai historical label for an influential ancient civilization, particularly Angkor. Khom is the native term for the ethnic group who built that civilization and continue to exist today. Let's really pull this together. How do our sources explicitly compare and contrast these two? How do they make that crucial distinction really clear?
Well, what's fascinating here is how the sources just directly lay out the differences. They really remove any ambiguity. They break it down into several key areas.
Okay, walk us through those points from the sources. What are the key differences?
Okay, first, there's the difference in language. Khom is presented clearly as a Thai word originating in the Thai language. Khar, on the other hand, is the native word, the term used by the people themselves, pronounced Khmer.
Got it. One is how the Thai referred to something, the other is how the people refer to themselves. Seems fundamental.
Precisely. Second point is the referent who or what they actually refer to. Khom is described as a Thai historical term, primarily used for the powerful ancient civilization or kingdom that existed before Sukhothai, often really focusing on that Angkorian period. It wasn't their own name. Khmer, in contrast, is the self-designation of the ethnic group, and it applies to both their ancient ancestors and the people today.
So Khom is more about the civilization from a Thai historical view, while Khmer is about the people themselves. A credit time. Is that a fair summary?
That's a key takeaway from the sources, yes. Third difference, time period. Khom tends to be used in Thai history to refer specifically to the ancient past, particularly that Angkorian era. It's rooted back then. Khmer, however, can refer to both the ancient Khmer people and the contemporary ethnic group and citizens of modern Cambodia. It bridges past and present.
Okay, so Khom is anchored more strictly in the historical past in Thai usage, while Khmer connects that past right through to the present day.
Exactly. Fourth point, meaning in Thai. This is interesting. The sources specify that within the Thai language, Khom is used to refer to those ancient people who built that specific civilization. Khmer, also used in Thai, refers more often to the contemporary ethnic group or the neighboring country itself, Cambodia.
Ah, that's a really helpful distinction, even just within Thai usage itself.
It is, yeah. And finally, a really important point the sources raise is about perception, how these terms are viewed today. They mention that people in Cambodia today might view the term Khom as, well, outdated or possibly even inappropriate.
Because it's an external historical label, maybe, rather than their chosen modern identity.
Exactly that. The sources state clearly that Khmer is the term they use for themselves and their identity, and it carries pride. And if we, connect this to the bigger picture, the sources are essentially showing us one term is a label applied by others based on historical interaction, while the other is the deeply ingrained self-chosen identity of a living ethnic group. Understanding that difference is fundamental.
Which brings us right back around to why this distinction actually matters to you, the listener, today. Why should we care about this difference?
Well, the sources make this practical application pretty clear, actually. Since the people in Cambodia identify as Khmer and, as the sources suggest, may perceive Khom as outdated or potentially insensitive, using Khmer when referring to the ethnic group or the modern nation is, according to the sources' implication, really a matter of respect and accurate contemporary terminology.
Yeah, it's about honoring how people identify themselves, isn't it?
Precisely. It's not just, historical minutia. It has real-world relevance in how we speak about and understand a neighboring culture and people.
So the core takeaway from this deep dive, drawn directly from the sources we looked at, is that Khom is primarily a Thai historical term describing an ancient civilization that was powerful in the region, particularly the Angkorian Empire. Meanwhile, Khmer is the self-designation used by the ethnic group themselves, tracing their lineage from that past right through to the present day.
They are distinct terms, definitely not interchangeable synonyms.
Absolutely not interchangeable. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the history and meaning of Khom and Khmer. It's been fascinating.
It really has important stuff.
As you go about your day, maybe consider this: how historical narratives and external labels, like the Thai use of Khom for a past civilization, can sometimes diverge pretty significantly from how a group defines itself across history and in the present day, like the Khmer people do with the term Khmer.
And maybe think about the quiet power and the importance of using the terminology that people choose for themselves. It matters.